toast this cup of pecans for about 10 minutes. Put the dry ingredients in a large mixing bowl, then we'll put the wet ingredients in a small mixing bowl, or medium rather, which is the other way around from how you usually make a cake. So we're going for 300 grams of all-purpose flour. There's half of it. One and two. We're going to put in 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. And then I'll give the dry ingredients a little whisk to combine everything. And we'll set that to the side and work on the wet ingredients. Alright, that's blended quite well. Now it's time for 4 eggs. If you're not confident about cracking open eggs without getting a bit of eggshell into your mixture, you can put these into a separate bowl and then slide them into your mix. These are eggs from our chickens, so you never know what the shell consistency will be. But there they are. And then we also need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And that's basically our wet ingredients. And on vanilla, for crying out loud, get real honest to goodness vanilla. Don't get imitation vanilla. You're going to pay more money for it, for the real vanilla, but it's worth it. So we're going to mix that up good. Now we put the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients instead of the other way around, which you usually do when you make your cakes. Just like that. And we're going to fold that in together. And we want to combine this until just a few streaks of flour remain. For the next step, we prepare our not really springform pans, but you prepare your cake pans. And we don't have cake pans, or I don't anyway. And so I like to use my springform pans in this case. I'm going to mix in. I've got the batter, the wet ingredients, blended just about perfectly. I'll add the shredded carrots. We started off with a pound of carrots, but by the time I trim the ends off and peel them, they lose a little bit of weight. But you always start off with a pound in this case. And you're just going to fold these in. The carrots, by the way, is what gives the cake its moisture. It's like if you've ever made zucchini bread or banana bread. It serves as a way to give it a lot of high moisture. So these are the pecans that we toasted earlier. I'm using most of them in the batter, and I have another batch that we'll sprinkle on the icing when we're all done. That goes there. I'll just finish folding this together. It'll only take a second.
Hello.
Hello. Danielle says hello. Don't worry, Danielle, you'll get to scrape.
Oh, I love that.
So we'll put the batter in the two pans. I try to put half in one and half in the other, but I never get it quite right. Which is not the end of the world. Okay, Danielle, can I borrow you? The camera's over there, so I want to face the camera.
All right.
Danielle loves this job.
My mother grew up on a farm in France, and you did not waste anything. They were not rich, so this is what she did. I grew up watching, scraping every last gram.
Do you want to hold the bowl and scrape the rest? Is that
Sure,
easier?
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
Won't be too long now. Wow.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But every tablespoon means another bite of cake. That's why I get so crazy doing this.
Okay?
Yes.
Can I borrow that spatula?
Certainly.
Because I have to figure out a way to... There we go. That's not bad. Okay. Putting the first one in. Most of you with modern ovens will probably put both cakes in at the same time. But our oven is a little bit on the small side. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. Right back out. I'll let that one cool for half an hour. And in goes the second one. 2 layers because it's a layer cake. Alright, I'll set the timer for 30 minutes. And I'll see you in another 30. Well, the 2 cake rounds turned out really well, I think. They're both done. They're cooled off. So now it's ready to we start making the icing. For that, I use the stand mixer. And the first thing to go in it is a cup of butter. In it goes. I like to take my butter and cream cheese out well ahead of time so that they can get to room temperature. You don't want a lumpy icing. So I'm going to turn that on low and let that run at low for about a minute. While that's running, I've got my cream cheese ready to go in. That'll be next. The butter seems to be ready, so the next thing to go in is the cream cheese. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can use one of those handheld mixers, which I used to use for years. Danielle has had the stand mixer now for about 50 years. Alright, we'll let that run for about a half a minute. I think I'll put 580 grams. I'm a little bit shy to go all the way up to 600. There you go. Now add that very gradually. Get the spoon out first. The icing is almost ready. But before I go any further, I'm going to put the teaspoon of vanilla in it. That gives it just the right amount, just the right flavor tone. And we'll turn it back on. I've got the first layer icing. I will tell you right up front here that I am not a good person at, I'm just not very good at icing. So I'm not trying to brag about that, but I'll put the second layer on top. And start putting that icing on. Okay. Well, I forgot to turn the camera on when I was making the carrots, so I'm sorry about that. Danielle volunteered to come along and put the roasted pecans on for me. She's better at this finesse stuff anyway.